like a half hour later than I thought I was going to be, and I apologize for that. I'm just gonna get live. I'm live on my Facebook group right now, the Soul Aligned Self Care Facebook group, and live on Instagram, and it's actually working. Now, full disclosure, I have my dog sitting next to me. I usually put the dogs away, but sometimes I don't want to. One's away, one's out. So if there's any barking, I apologize ahead of time. But I feel bad sometimes putting them away. Today, I am batch recording some podcasts, and they're going to be away a lot of the day because I need complete silence during podcasts. So today we are talking about allowing ourselves to rest so that we can gain clarity, energy, and confidence. And this is something that I have to constantly remind myself to do because I am the type of person, and you might be this type of person also, that likes to be doing, and always has this need to be doing. It's almost like this disease that I have. And so being very mindful of that and constantly reminding myself to allow myself to rest and also give myself the space that I need sometimes is something that I have to, like I said, be mindful about. It's not something that comes natural to me. I don't like say, oh, I'm tired, I should rest. That never happens. I'm always like, okay, you need to like make some time to feel better. You're not feeling good right now. So this is for all those people out there who feel this way too. And I don't necessarily think it's always a bad thing as long as I can be mindful of it. When I wasn't mindful of it, it obviously was a bad thing for me because, as most of you know, I had a stroke caused by stress. That was like ages ago, back in 2007. And since then, I've learned all these different practices to help take care of myself. And that's what I teach now, obviously. Well, it's not obvious to some people who don't know me very well yet. So it's not obvious. And I call it the Reset and Thrive framework that I teach in my boot camp. And so all these things that I talk about on here and in the Facebook group all are kind of related to what I teach in the framework. And so what I wanted to talk about today is how there's a couple of different things that we do to ourselves when we don't allow ourselves to rest. One of them is, as I said, I'm a professional at this, is we always put this pressure on ourselves to be doing. And some of us actually hold our worth to that. Like, if I don't do this, maybe I don't deserve to make money. Maybe I don't deserve this, or I don't deserve that. Or maybe I think, and these are beliefs that I have that I'm always working to like overcome. Maybe it's like I think I need to work hard in order to earn enough money in my business. And these are different things that I'm constantly shifting back and forth. I haven't definitely haven't mastered it yet. I always still feel like I need to be doing. And I have to be very, very conscious of this. And another thing is we also don't allow ourselves the space to like, feel our feelings and process our feelings. There's like this overwhelming pressure right now to always be positive. And especially if you're the type of person who is trying to like master the manifestation process or law of attraction, it's like you feel like if you're not positive, if you're not in like that positive high vibe all the time, that you're going to kind of like deter all this stuff that you're trying to manifest into your life. And that's just not how it works. You don't have to be positive all the time. As a matter of fact, it's completely okay not to be okay sometimes. And it's not just okay, it's absolutely necessary, because if you don't allow yourself to feel your feelings and process those feelings properly, they're just kind of like stuffed inside. And I kind of posted a little bit of a quote today about this. And so, whatever, and this is basically comes from a Wayne Dyer quote, and I'm definitely going to screw it up. I wrote about it in my blog post this week. But he said, if you squeeze an orange, orange juice comes out. So what comes out when you get squeezed? Meaning, when you're stressed out in your life, what comes out? So if I see myself being like getting really short really quickly, meaning little things are stressing me super easily, then I know that is a very strong sign that I need some rest. I need to give myself time to process. And so when something happens to us and maybe we feel sad or angry or disappointed or whatever the feelings are, If you don't allow yourself to move through those feelings, if you don't allow yourself to that space, that's what's going to be on the inside of you. And anytime you get squeezed, that's going to come out, right? So you have to ask yourself the question when those kind of emotions are just coming out, like very abruptly, like, why is that coming out? Why is that being the one thing? What do I need to deal with? But it's so much easier just to deal with the feelings when you have them. And so what I started doing ages ago, and now it just comes really naturally to me, is if I'm just having one of those days where I'm really angry about something or frustrated, a lot of times it's the emotion is like an anger slash frustration, like I don't have control over something, or like maybe my kids are going through something and I can't help them, or maybe something's going on in the world and I have no control over it and it's frustrating. Um, then I know that I need to take the space to process those emotions. And so for ages, I called it my pity party because I'm like, I just need the time to just be sad or be mad or be frustrated, just to be like a little asshole for a little while and just be in that space and just process the emotions. And so I would always give myself a day. That's what I would do. And I do realize that I was very entitled to be able to have this space for myself. I've always been self employed for as long as I can remember. I think the last time I actually worked for somebody was like back when I was in my 20s, right? And I wasn't really good at that, honestly. But I did work for other people at certain times in my life. And you can't always do that. You don't have the freedom to take a full day. I mean, sometimes you do if you have a sick day, but a lot of people don't have that either. But allow yourself the space to feel the feelings and just be in the bad mood, be sad, cry, scream into a pillow if you have to. Sometimes when it comes to anger and frustration, one of the things that helps me is going for a run, right? And I've said this over and over again. I don't do this so much anymore because I don't do a lot of long distance running anymore. But I like if you see me, I used to say to my friends, if you see me going for a 10-mile run, I'm probably really pissed off about something, and I just need to get like express that. You know, that was one of the ways that helped me process anger. But what I realized over time was when I actually let go of trying to suppress the feeling, trying to control the feeling, trying to improve the feeling right away, and I just gave into it and allowed myself to be in that feeling, it went away so much faster. And I didn't need a day. As a matter of fact, like I would always, there was a short period of time where I'd be like, all right, you need the pity party day. So I'm giving you the pity party day. You're sad, you're whatever, and you need to just like be in that for a day or so. But I got to the point where I would move through it so much quicker because I would release it quicker. And I didn't need the day. And then I realized that it just almost felt like I was wasting my time sitting in a pity party for so long. And so now I just allow it. Like I feel it and I know the different things that help me. So like what helps me when I'm angry, which might be running, right? Doesn't help me when I'm sad. I don't want to go for a run when I'm sad. A lot of times, maybe I just want to sit on the couch and cry. Maybe I even want to watch like a sad movie and force myself to cry. Maybe I just want to sleep. Whatever it might be, you know. Or if I'm trying to think of some anxious, running doesn't help me either. Yoga helps me. So it's like running puts you almost in that fight or flight like feeling, like you're kind of hyped up. And if you're already anxious, running doesn't help me personally. So what helps me is like deep breathing and yoga, moving, slowing down, maybe even like yin yoga. So you really need to learn what helps your body move through these feelings. But the first part is just allowing it. And like I said, once you like give into the feeling and you stop trying to control it or shift it immediately without feeling it, once you give into it, you'll see how much easier it is to process. I'm just, that one little shift right there, just giving into it and allowing it to process is so huge. So, as I don't know if I said this in the title of today, I don't think I did. I should change the title because I'm going to give you like just 5 things to think about on this topic. So the first thing, I wrote them down so I don't forget. So the first thing is stop shooting yourself to death. So, that means when you find yourself saying, I should do this, should do this, I shouldn't do this, I should feel like this, I should be this way, Just stop that. One of the things that you need to do is just accept who you are and the way you are right in that moment. And when you start saying, I should do this and I should act this way and I should be this way, it almost seems like you're comparing yourself to somebody else. And nobody's situations are exactly the same as somebody else's, right? Everybody has different starting points, everybody has different circumstances in their life. And to compare yourself to another person is absolutely ridiculous. So when you start saying, I should feel this way, I should act this way, and I should do these things because this person is doing them and she seems to do it that way or he seems to do it that way, really what you're doing is just putting way too much pressure, unrealistic pressure on yourself. And the better thing to do is to just accept the way you are, 100% the way you are, because once you like give in to like the things that certain people are strong in certain situations, certain people can't handle situations. Once you learn what you can handle and what you can't handle and how you can help yourself process your way through those things, you actually gain more power. Like I said in the title, gain clarity, energy, and confidence. Like once you allow yourself to just be who you are and accept that and work with those things that you are good at and the things that you aren't good at and work with those things and just allow it, you become so much more powerful. So that's number one, stop shitting yourself to death. The second thing is allow yourself the pity party, like I talked about. Okay. So allow yourself the space to feel the feelings. Yes, I realize that not everybody has the same space that I have. Not everybody is self-employed. Not everybody can turn off for a day. But if you could come home from work and turn off that night, if you have a partner who could maybe take care of the kids, or maybe you don't have kids, right? Or if you have someone that could take care of things while you can just like zone out, right? Just allow yourself some space, even if it's 15 minutes, to feel the feelings that you're feeling, okay? Next is all feelings pass at some point. So when you're in those moments and you're feeling really horrible, and like I said, for me, like some of the worst things that I always, I get, the hardest things for me to work through are like anger and frustration. And I'm much better at anxiety now, but anger and frustration is hard for me. So like I said, running helps me through that. But sometimes when you have no way of controlling a situation, it can be extremely frustrating. Learning how to like deal with those feelings is great, but also knowing that it's going to pass at some point. You're going to work through it, and it's not something you're going to be feeling forever. So when you learn how to allow the feelings instead of stuffing them down or trying to shift them immediately, when you're allowing yourself to feel the feelings, know that it's not something you're going to be feeling forever. It'll pass. And then the next thing is you could always ask for help. And a lot of people have trouble asking for help, but you should have like a go-to person or persons or even a counselor or someone to go to that you can talk to unconditionally. And what I mean by that, and that's why it's good to have like a counselor sometimes, because when you're talking to family or friends, that there's always like it can be like a little bit conditional. Like you're like, maybe they'll judge you, they'll remember this point and they're gonna judge you for it in the future, or whatever thoughts might come up. But some of us do have friends that we can go to with anything, and that's great. And if you have that, then you should definitely cherish it. But remember that when you're going through different feelings, that you don't need to hide your feelings or mute your feelings or stuff those feelings down, that you can allow yourself to feel them. And if you need help, if you need someone to talk through it, don't be afraid to ask for help, okay? And then, like I said just a second ago, these feelings will pass. So these things always pass. They don't last forever. When you allow yourself to rest and you allow yourself to feel those feelings, one of the biggest issues I see with people and myself sometimes is that you think you're going to fall behind, you're going to miss out on something. Okay. So there have been times where I've been in such a crappy mood and maybe I have plans with somebody and I'll just say to somebody, listen, I'm just not going to go. I am in a really shitty mood and I'm just not a good person to be around right now. I'm just going to bring the whole vibe down. Like, you don't want to be hanging out with me right now. And sometimes it's hard to do that because you feel like you're going to miss out, or or maybe if it's like a work thing, or if you are in business for yourself, you feel like maybe I can't take this time off if I'm in business for myself. I can't give myself this space to feel my feelings. I can't give myself the space to rest, because if I do, I'm going to miss out on this opportunity, or I might lose business, or people might not think I am capable of being this business work person that I think I should look like or be, right? One of the things I notice with the online business world that I'm in is that people, they appear to not be working. It may appear that way, meaning they're posting on social media all the time, right? And so even on the weekends, constant videos on TikTok everywhere, okay? Now I post a lot, but there most of the time I tune out on the weekends. And if I pop on the weekends, it's usually like more like pictures of my dogs or me and my kids or something like that. I am not on, and I am not scheduling shit. Like I'm just like no. Like, and I feel like a lot of people don't allow themselves the space to have that time off because we can schedule things. It's like, okay, well, I could do this work and then I can schedule it all weekend, and it appears like I'm working all the time. But I don't think I don't think it's healthy. And so, something I've been thinking about a lot lately, especially talking about this topic today, allowing yourself the rest, right? Allowing yourself that space is just tuning out altogether on the weekends, not even thinking about it. I still think about it. I'm like torn about it, but I'm like, no, I'm not working, so I'm not going to go on, right? So I'm still have like I'm a little bit torn on it, but now I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to tune off, and I might make it obvious by saying to people, listen, I'm off this weekend. You guys have a good weekend, and I'll see you on Monday, right? Because a lot of times that's what I use social media for, is business, right? One of the things I also want to, like a perspective, the way I want you to think of this with the rest. And the reason why I say you gain clarity and you gain energy and you gain confidence, this is a really good, like, metaphor, so to speak, or a good way to think about it. So athletes, like especially professional athletes, they work really hard, right? They're training hard. They're working their body super, super, super hard. And their coaches are training them really, really, really hard all the time. And that's what we see, right? Especially professional athletes. We're seeing them training and doing all this hard work and then doing all these amazing things, right? But what we don't see a lot of times, we do sometimes, but what we don't see a lot of times is the fact that they have to rest and recover in order to become better. And that's not just something I'm assuming, that's an actual fact. And I experienced this firsthand, not that I'm a professional athlete or something, but when I used to do a lot of distance running, I love running, right? So I love it a lot. So there was one year where I joined a couple of programs. So I was in two running training programs, and I can't remember what I was training for. I've done like a lot of half marathons. I've done one marathon, and I've done like 6 Ragnars, which is like a 200-mile relay race. And so I was pretty much always training for something. Like it was part of my life. It was something fun that I did all the time. Every fall, I did like a race circuit. Like I did all these races. They were like every race I did every year, right? And so I was always training. So I was doing these 2 running programs, and they were pretty hard, legit programs. I think this is before I ran my marathon, my first marathon. And I wasn't resting at all, but I was really having a good time. I enjoyed all the people. I enjoyed my coaches. I was training really hard. I was in really good shape. 2 things I noticed, okay? The first thing I noticed was I didn't lose, like, I used to always get like a little chubby in the winter. And then in the summer, when I would start running more and training, that would just disappear. So that chub did not go away. I call it my chub, right? So it didn't go away, right? And that's because when you overwork the body and you don't allow it to rest, it's going to hold on to that because you're in like fight or flight, right? So your body's like, I better hold on to that. I need to protect this body, right? So I was holding on to my weight because I was overstressing my body. The second thing was when I actually did the race, I was slower. My times were slower. I was tired. I didn't feel good. And it was a really good lesson to learn because it ruined my whole race season. Every race I did, my times were slower. Everything was slower. I did so much worse. And I realized that I wasn't allowing my body to rest. So when you work your body really hard and then you rest your body, when your body's resting, that's when your muscles are like building, okay? That's when the actual muscles builds. And that's just a fact, right? And so if you don't allow yourself to rest, then you can't get better, you can't grow, and you can't get stronger. And so I think this is a really good way to think about these things because if you don't allow yourself the space to feel your feelings and allow yourself to rest, to just like exhale and like clear space for yourself and allow yourself to feel. And when you're resting everything, you're tuning out. That's why meditation is so good for us, right? Because you're tuning everything out and you're allowing yourself everything to clear out, rest, relax, restore, recoup. And then what happens? You have more clarity, right? You have a lot more clarity. And then what else happens? You have a lot more energy. And what else happens? You have a lot more confidence because you're feeling good and you're clear on things. You're moving forward. You're just moving forward stronger, right? So when you allow yourself the rest, you can move forward stronger. And so that is this week's self-care challenge, so to speak, or I might be calling this the self-care practice, is to allow yourself that rest, right? Because when you allow yourself that rest and you allow yourself to feel those feelings and move through everything, then it's easier for you to gain clarity, okay? You automatically have more energy because you're allowing yourself to rest, and the confidence comes from the clarity and energy put together. I'm sorry if you can hear my dog in the background chewing on a bone. Sorry about that. It sounds really loud to me. So anyway, that is this week's self-care practice. So ask yourself those questions, right? Look at what you're doing. Are you allowing yourself to rest, right? So when you're under a lot of pressure, so like I said, the quote, Wayne Dyer quote, if you are an orange and you get squeezed, orange juice comes out. So if you're pay attention and be mindful, if you're under pressure and all these different emotions are coming out, try to ask yourself the question, where do I need to rest? What feelings do I need to work through, right? How can I process this so that I feel better? And go through the things that I talked about today. So one of them is stop shooting yourself. Do you find yourself saying, I should do this, I should be this, I should feel this way, I should do what she's doing, or I should do what he's doing? Like if you're shooting yourself, then you need to be able to look at those things. Why am I comparing, right? And stop comparing and accept yourself exactly the way you are. You process things this way. That person over there processes things completely differently. So stop comparing. Allow yourself the pity party. It doesn't have to be a pity party, but what that means is just allow yourself the time to process your feelings, whether it be 5 minutes or a full day. As soon as you let go of trying to control the feelings, right, or stuffing them down, or like changing them to the positive immediately, as soon as you let go of that and you accept yourself and allow yourself to feel these feelings, you process them so much quicker, right? You can move through them so much quicker. It's about just allowing instead of pushing them back, right? And then feelings pass, right? So just knowing that while you're feeling the feelings, if you're feeling really shitty or stressed or angry or whatever the feeling is, that these feelings will pass. But if you do need help, always ask for help, whether it's a friend, family, counselor. If you need help, ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Everybody needs help. Everybody does. Nobody does this alone. And the last thing I talked about was, don't feel like if you allow yourself the time to rest that you're going to fall behind or miss out. Most of the time, nobody is going to notice. If you take a day off or if you take a week off, nobody is going to notice. Nobody's going to hold it against you, okay? Now, that's definitely pointed at somebody who's self-employed. Obviously, this is completely different if you're employed by, if you work for somebody else. Obviously, this is very different. That would be a whole podcast episode, I think, right? But don't be afraid to give yourself that space, because you don't fall behind or miss out. If anything, you're recharging, just like an electric car. You plug in an electric car and it recharges. As soon as you give yourself that space to like rest and restore, that's when you gain the clarity, that's when you gain the confidence, that's when you gain the energy. So you have more power to move forward. You're not going to miss out or fall behind. Okay, so definitely like be mindful of all those things while you're going through your daily life, and allow yourself that space to rest and allow yourself to feel those feelings and move through those feelings. Okay, I hope that was helpful. I will see you next week for another self-care practice. I'll be going live here every Wednesday. The month of May, I am traveling but I'm still going to try to go live every Wednesday. It just might be earlier in the day because it might be easier for me to do it earlier. Okay, I love you guys. Bye. Oh, I don't know if I ended it.